Evening, Brandon.
Good evening.
4 to 7 p.m., but we can run through a regular meeting.
Correct. I think we're just waiting for Victoria, but I believe we can get started. We have Director Kaplan here, so do you want to kick us off for the scintillating discussion about gray water?
Or I can, Aaron, whatever you prefer.
I wasn't planning, I was
All right, go ahead,
surprised
Brandon.
that we even were doing the workshop.
Yeah, no worries. So thank you, Mayor Rogan. So this comes before you to address a change in state statute that occurred in 2024. Essentially what happened in 2013, the state authorized the use of gray water throughout the state. Prior to that point, gray water was not authorized to be used anywhere. But in 2013, the state authorized it to be used when permitted by a local jurisdiction, whether it be a city or a county. Um, and that was the law up until 2024, at which point the state changed the law to make it kind of the reverse of that, where it's assumed permitted and less restricted by the local jurisdiction. And the law is clear that before the end of this year, before this law goes into effect, the local jurisdiction must pass an ordinance or a resolution declaring its intent not to allow gray water, or otherwise be assumed to be permitted. We do not have regulations in Lyons to address the complexities of gray water. Additionally, the state statute assumes that if you were going to permit gray water, you do have these types of regulations in place, which we don't have again. It would take some time to develop. Almost no place in Colorado has these types of regulations in place currently. And so the recommendation of CML has been, at least for now, to opt out of the statute, to say we are not going to permit gray water at this time. And then when a project comes along that wishes to use gray water, we work with them to develop the necessary regulations if we want that to happen. And so what this proposed ordinance simply does is really exempt us out of the gray water statute by saying it's not permitted in the town of Alliance, at this time. And so that's kind of the background on this. Again, the statute goes into effect at the end of the year, which is why it's coming to you now.
Could just add, I did listen, listened to Boulder County. They had staff present to their water resources board that they have. And in that discussion, it came out that Boulder County has started, they tried to do a test pilot program for gray water a few years back and did not see very much interest in it. I don't remember if it was Fort Collins or somewhere else they mentioned that also looked at doing that. And then their estimate was it would be something like 20 years, maybe more, before they would get any kind of payback or it would become worthwhile at all for them to spend the money on trying to do a gray water ordinance. And then putting all of the process and procedures in place and then trying to monitor that. I think some of that comes because there's, of course, going to be the question, isn't this something we want? Don't we want to try to conserve water? It is a good idea. But at this point, seeing the results from what gets put in place are not really there. Maybe it is if we had enough. I've seen a little bit of questioning on that by at least one resident in town a year or two ago. So there might be some interest in it, but trying to balance out that interest versus the cost.
Okay.
I was just gonna ask, and I'm trying to understand the context of this, so if you're on city water, I mean, who's the quote target audience for gray water at this point? I mean,
You could irrigate with it.
yeah, but I'm trying to figure out what the mechanics, what kind of to actually redirect your gray water to a different bank and,
Yeah.
I mean,
That's the rub right there. If you want to redirect the gray water from your shower, let's say,
right,
you have to
replumb the whole.
blow the crap or coming out of the crap, you're gonna have another control to shoot it outside somewhere. And you're gonna have to take some expense to plumb that, and sometimes you want the gray water, sometimes you don't, in the wintertime, but it's when you want it, right?
Yeah, and I'm asking this question because I'm not on town water. And I could see it from a septic system. There's a lot of benefits to do that. As well as I had a neighbor that built a tree house and the county came in and he had to spend 30K on putting gray water in for a shower. 30K for a tree house.
I mean, the shower in the greenhouse.
Yes. So anyway, so I mean, there's very small use cases for gray water. But I was trying to understand if there's any benefit for, 99% of the town that's on town water supply.
I always thought of it as more of an off-grid kind of a
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
Here's the use for what some people call gray water, although once we get our definitions, it won't really be gray water, the way we're gonna deal with it. I got this out of a book called Green Living for Dummies that somebody gave me years ago. If you capture your shower water as it's warming up, we're on the third floor, our hot water heater is on the first floor, so there's a lot of water to run out. And you bucket, you can use it for watering the plants, you can use it to warm your toilet tank every time you flush, and save a gallon or so per flush. Same thing with water out of the kitchen sink while you're waiting for it to get hot to wash the dishes. And I think there's a fair number of people that do that.
Mhm.
We do it, especially during water averaging in December through February. Our bills paying, so. I've got an amendment that I've run by Aaron and Brandon. And we'll get to this to make it clear that that use of gray water, basically stuff you capture from your shower, or water faucet, or whatever other water fixture you have in your house, is not prohibited. So we'll clarify that up, but that's, I think, a fairly common use of it.
Is that truly gray water?
And not really, well,
No.
And that's what the definition.
Not for the
too.
purpose of this statute, it's not. I mean, I think, it's another way of thinking about it, but this is about creating municipal systems to capture that water. So something different, and which I think what the amendment tries to do is to clarify that.
I can imagine us trying to create a municipal system to capture gray water.
Right.
At this point.
I'd read something about this and I just found it again. City of Boulder tried this and they did a pilot project in a dorm at CU.
Yep.
And it wasn't very successful, and it said the city estimates establishing a local gray water control program to meet state and federal regulations will be expensive and resource intensive. And they didn't really capture that much, it didn't conserve that much water.
Yeah, I remember when they were building that. So it's been in the forefront of my mind while we've been doing this.
What's the effect of diminished water on the wastewater treatment plant if we were to have a system like that?
There can be concerns for that. It's already been talked about, at least me and the operator talking about it from just the conservation aspect of it. We haven't seen any specific problems. I don't know that it's the treatment plant as much as the delivery system drying out and things having a problem there. And then building up and causing blockages, things like that. We haven't seen anything there, but it is a concern just from a general reduction in water aspect.
I think you would have any residential gray water we don't put into the systems. The wastewater system would make the concentration of commercial even worse.
Right,
And I think it would have in our small population, if it really took off, I think it could have an impact.
I recall having a conversation about the wastewater plant when, the water coming in was low because of the
Mhm.
conservation measures, and there was some.
And then BOD goes up.
Increasing the concentration of BOD.
That's only gonna be per, like, it's an average then, because you don't have as much water. Again, I guess I don't know the specifics, but you also have to think, we're trying to de-water everything that comes out anyways. I mean, for part of the process, you might need water, but in the end, the whole goal is to squeeze as much water out, and we want it drier in the plant. But we don't want it dry because it won't get to the plant.
No, but it
The
was
way I
like
look
after
at
the
it.
flood, we were saying, we need you to use your toilets. We need water to offset the TSS.
And our wastewater use per capita is way low, which is why when you get any kind of an industrial concentrated wastewater in there, it has a bigger
It is
effect
big.
here than elsewhere because our residential wastewater use is extremely low. Partly
But
because it's so
I'm
expensive.
sure if you would decide to do that, we probably need to do some study, you know, I mean,
Yeah.
have the experts tell us.
Just so we're clear here, this gray water we're talking about is only for single residences, right? And we're not suggesting putting in a gray water system in town.
No, we're not.
No.
At this point it wasn't, and it's,
That's what we're talking about prohibiting.
but this is to prohibit somebody from actually plumbing their house, because we don't have building codes either. You would need to develop building codes so that the plumbing inspector could go in and make sure he differentiates and everything is done that's needed to split the system. That's sort of the starting point.
Okay,
If we, at this point, we don't want that, even before we are not looking at developing our own gray water system.
And the statute kind of assumes that if you're going down the path of permitting these projects and not denying it, you're going to do that, right? It says, as part of the restrictions that, notwithstanding, allowing it, you need to develop, these building codes if you're going to allow it. So we just don't have the time to do that by the end of the year.
Has there been any interest on the commercial or industrial side?
I've not heard any, it hasn't been hugely publicized. I just happen to remember one resident reaching out a year or two ago, asking about gray water.
Any other questions or comments? Seems pretty cut and dry to me.
Hopefully, yes.
Yeah, the only other last thing on this that I did not realize that when CML directed people to do this is that if we do pass this ordinance, we will need to notify CDPHE in some way that we've done this according to the statute. And I'm not sure how to do that. And so that's something we'll have to work on through what channels that needs to go through. And I'm sure CML can probably track that down. But that's a kind of a new wrinkle on this that I wasn't aware of.
Or our water operator should have that. I can reach out.
Okay.
I guess the question is it on the water side or the wastewater
I
side?
have no
But
idea. Yeah.
we'll reach out.
And
Because
statutes.
it is mostly, I guess to point out technically, at the end, it is really trying to talk about anyone on the water system can't do this on the wastewater system. So I think it falls under the water, but I will find out.
Yeah, the statute only says CDPHE. It doesn't specify a division or anything else. So.
All right, is there anything else about gray water?
I just want to make sure that it will be penalized by the state of Colorado if we prohibit the use.
No.
That's why we're doing it, because we will be penalized by the state if we don't.
Right. Just checking.
We need to provide an exception for RVs, perhaps in our campgrounds.
No, it's not building code. And again, I don't know. They're not part of our wastewater system. The RV itself is not part of anything that would be, and they're also not part of our water system. It's anybody on our water system. And the RVs do connect at times to the water. I can try to verify, I'm thinking through that, no, but.
Well, I guess we only need 15 minutes for this workshop.
I guess.
We can, should we go ahead and end the workshop early and reconvene at 6? Or is there anything else anyone wants to discuss about gray water?
I've got a real simple amendment to the intentions to make it clear the water that doesn't enter never goes into a pipe is not great water. So you have to try to get dollars into that.
Okay, we can continue to water the plants.
Oh,
Okay, well then I guess we'll end the workshop.
I think you're okay because it's just straight into it. That's
Yeah, should we go straight into executive session or wait until 6?
Attorney Detman,
Yeah, it's a good question because we noticed it at 6 and I realized we're just going straight into executive session. Um, I think,
Outside can join.
and I know they can't join.
yeah, I think let's just wait till 6 to be safe, kind of give the contested nature of this issue we're in executive session for.
All right,
Better be careful on this.
Yeah.
Please,
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, well, then we'll end the workshop early and we have 15 minutes to go find a pizza or something.
No, I want to find out where the new, store is in Longmont.
By the TJ Maxx.
Whole restroom.
Okay, we live?
We're live. Okay.
I will call the Monday, November 3rd, 2025 Lions Board of Trustees meeting to order. Can we have a roll call, please?
Yes, Mayor Rogan,
Present?
Mayor Pro Tem Williams,
Present.
Trustee Hamrick,
Present.
Trustee Dottie,
Present.
Trustee Lowell,
Present.
Trustee Browning,
Present.
and Trustee Williams.
Please rise for the pledge of allegiance.
Well, we actually have that at 7 there.
I'm looking online at the agenda and it says we have it now. The one that you printed for me says that we have it at 7. We can do it twice. It's okay. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
And to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
You. Is there a motion to go into executive session? Oh, I see.
I move we go into executive session pursuant to CRS sections 24-6-4024B. 4 and B and 24-6-4024E for the purpose of determining positions relevant to matters that may be subject to negotiations, developing strategy for negotiations, and instructing negotiators, and for legal advice from attorneys representing the town regarding a property dispute concerning 0 Stickney Street, Lyon.
Thank you very much. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? I'll call for the vote.
And that motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Brandon, I'll send over